Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels.
I'm Jamil Damji.
And I'm Jerry Norton.
And I'm Morby.
Every week we bring you the best information on real estate investing.
Be sure to participate in the comments.
And subscribe.
So thank you so much for calling Wholesale Hotline. See ya. Wow, that's great.
Welcome back to Wholesale Hotline number 255. My name is Brent Daniels. I am joined by
Jamil Damji.
Jerry Norton will be joining us soon. I think Pace Morby might pop in from his mobile device.
Yes, sir.
He is at skate practice. Skateboarding practice for Corbin.
Skateboarding.
So
that
guys,
incredible girl
in the chat, make sure that you let everybody know where you are living, where you're doing business. This is your networking event of the week. Make sure that you connect in there. Guys, we're in all the different channels, the Brent Daniels YouTube channel, Jerry Norton, Jamil Damji, Pace Morby, all those different channels. Get in there. Make sure that you're connecting with everybody that's in there so that you can squad up, that's our motto. Squad up.
That's it, baby.
Squad up.
Squad up. Squad up.
Who are you squadding up with lately?
My sis.
Okay. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, we've been, here, let me give you the backstory.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I've been getting clowned by Pace Morby for, 3 years.
Okay.
Every time around tax time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Because he'll, when we were shooting the TV show, he would show up to the set with a refund.
Sure.
In his, in his pocket. Anyway, he'd be like, hey, look what the IRS sent me today. I'm like,
yeah.
Send me the refund check.
Yeah.
And I know how much money he makes because, we're close.
Yep.
And so I'm like, bro, how? And it's because he's buying real estate and depreciating and doing the things and, things that I wasn't necessarily doing. I was creating a lot of active income from the wholesale business, and that's good. It's really good to be getting cash in, but it's terrible when it just goes out to nonsense, right? And last year, my tax bill was $1.2 million. And I tried hard for it not to be.
Right.
Like I was, buying cars, heavy machinery over 6,000 pounds. I was, doing everything I could, I thought, to mitigate it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the best asset to buy that you can depreciate, that appreciates, because my cars are all depreciating.
Yep.
My homes are not. Right. So you can depreciate the home appreciates, you get mortgage pay down. And if you can figure out a strategy to cash flow in 7% interest rate environments, then you've cracked the code.
Yeah, sure.
And so that's what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of co-living homes and we've perfected it. We've figured out the secret sauce on how to get it. Because, the biggest drawback in co-living that people will say it is that you got high turnover because it's weekly rentals, right? Sure. And you're going to have a guy or lady come in and they'll stay a week and that could happen, right? But the reason why that happens typically is you didn't do enough checking in of the person to make sure that they were gainfully employed, that they were going to be able to have the means to stay, right? If they came in tweaked out with a few $100 and they're like, let me stay. You're like, no, that's not, you're going to disrupt the environment. No one's going to like living with you. You can't be a part of this club. Yeah. But if they come in and they're like, hey, I'm falling on some interesting times. Landlord sold my house. I need to figure out where I'm living. That person could potentially be a tenant for a year or even longer. Sure. But what will make them not want to live there, right? If it's not comfortable, if they're having to share bathrooms, if they're doing things that when they lay their head down at night and they say, man, I can't wait to get out of this joint, they're going to leave. Yeah. Right. But if you can create a community in there, which, we've really been able to we know how to do that. We know how to build community. The masters. And so that's what we've been doing in our co-living homes. We build little communities in there and we make the houses feel like they're homes. And so every month we'll do a little like mini educational retreat where we'll come in, bring in somebody to talk about credit repair. We'll bring somebody in to talk about job prospecting. And so these guys are like, we did a meditation class, you know, like these guys are like, I don't get this in my apartment building. I never got this at my old rental.
Yep.
And these people living next door to me here in room 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're awesome. We're all hanging out with each other. I walked into one of our co-living homes where there was a guy sitting on the couch doing some work on his laptop, and somebody was cooking a meal for the entire home in the kitchen. They were all laughing and joking and having a good time. One person was sweeping and dancing around, and I thought, I haven't seen anything like this in a long time. And so it's harmonious. It's great. And the cash flow is insane. I'm getting $2 to $3 grand a house, and I barely keep any money into these things, and I get all that depreciation. So I've doubled down on it as a strategy. It just makes more money than my hard money funds, right? And I'm in control, and it's backed by the asset.
Are you buying these traditionally? You buying them all cash?
I'm buying them wholesale. No, I'm buying them with hard money. Here's how I do it. Okay, I buy them with hard money.
Yeah.
Okay, 10% down, 20%.
These are wholesale
down.
deals?
Wholesale deals.
Okay.
Yep. Buy them 10, 20% down. Typically, I try to get in at 10, but if I have to, 20. Okay, so I get in at 10, 20% down. That if we're talking usually I'm buying these houses 250 or below, right? So 25 grand to 50 grand on the acquisition of the house.
Yep.
Now I'm also financing the construction at 10 to 20% down.
Yeah.
The construction is running about 100 grand. So anywhere between 10 to 20,000 for the construction, right? So now do the math, right? I'm in for maybe 70 to 100K.
Yep.
70 to 100K in. Now here's the beauty.
Are you furnishing them?
I am furnishing them, right? But the furnishings, we have a nationwide vendor where we get the entire house done in under 10 grand.
What?
All the beds, all the things, and they're good quality stuff, right? That's something that we're going to be providing to our community, and so that everyone can have access to the cheaper furnishings, but they're high quality things. And so the beautiful thing is, in 6 months, I go to my lender, who is very well versed on co-living, and we refi.
Of course.
And what do I get out? Anywhere between $70,000 to $120,000. So I'm into these homes once I do the refinance for very little or no money, but I'm still cash flowing $2,000 a month. That's infinite returns with no cash in. I don't know where you get. Where does that exist?
Nowhere.
Real estate, right? So for me, it's a no-brainer strategy. I can keep recycling the same $500,000.
Yep.
Doing 5 houses at a time, pulling my money out, putting it back in, pulling my money out, getting back in. But it's the cheat code, because I don't have to keep my money trapped in there, and I get all that depreciation. I get all that appreciation. I got all that mortgage pay down, and I get all that cash flow for nothing. It's the most genius magic trick I've ever seen in my life.
What about the management of these properties?
Incredibly easy.
Okay.
There's lots of property management companies out there that will be helpful. Pad Split's a great leasing company. And if you're one of those guys that just likes to be hands-on, do it yourself.
Right.
But I'm happy to pay 15%. Take it. Take the 15%. Go make your money, baby. I don't care. Just don't call me when the water's broken or when the toilet's broken.
If you wanted to go and add, let's say 10 of these properties to your portfolio this year, what would the pool of money be that you're thinking that you're recycling? Because it's going to take some time for those to stabilize, for it to get appraised, to have enough equity in there.
It's about 6 months.
It's 6 months. So you can cycle your money
every 6
twice.
months. Yeah, twice a year.
How much do you think you have to pool to do?
Scale?
Yeah.
Lots. Right? Millions, probably 20, 30 million.
So is that raising funds? Is that pulling in your own? What do you think?
Well, we have a fund. We just created it.
Awesome.
Co-Nest. It's it'll be a way for people to participate in our deals.
Yep.
But I also think, look, here's the reality, right? Okay. 5 houses. 5 houses.
Yeah.
I'm doing that every 6 months right now. Okay. 5 houses generates me 10 grand a month. In net income, net income, right? So every year I add $20,000 a month to my income.
Yeah.
Okay. In 5 years,
well, let alone the tax
breaks, and in 5 years I'm at $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
In income with all just my cash flowing rentals, and I'm doing this in a way that I'm not having to quit my 9-to-5 job. I don't have to stop wholesaling. I don't have to stop coaching. I don't have to stop any of these things. It happens kind of like a flip. It's just somebody else is handling it. I just go and check them out on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, wholesaling is incredible because we make big chunks of money. The hard part about wholesaling is that I can't count on it all the time, right? For me and Keegley, because we're a machine, I can.
Yeah.
But for most people doing, anywhere from 1 to 5 deals a month, there's months where they're dry, right? You get hard months. And those months are difficult to kind of stomach. And that's when the mind starts playing tricks on you and it tells you, a W-2 might be the way for you. But when you build it slow and steady and you get that nice little those cash flow increments, it's just such a stable feeling of, I'm like 5 years away from $100,000 a month in passive cash flow that gets taxed at 20% instead of what I'm paying right now. For me, it's just a no-brainer. And I think for people watching this right now, as they're listening to me talk about it, their mind should be opening up to the fact that this is a dang no-brainer.
Well, look at what co-work space has done.
Right.
It's essentially what you're talking about. When I had that high-rise co-working space, I met so many incredible neighbors that were there that had different businesses that we collaborated with. There was like a happy hour. There was like lunches. There was meet and greets. There was all these events and everything going on. It was really, really, really cool. Now I got tired of parking, underground, taking an elevator up 17 floors. But it was a great experience, a great experience. Yeah. And as long as you have the right people managing it and putting the right people in there and you don't get, somebody that's crazy. It could be a wonderful way to live. It's very similar to a lot of European countries do this.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So here's the reality, what's up, Jerry?
What up, Jerry?
Fellas? Sorry, I'm late.
When you're wanting to see how people have dealt with affordability problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in this stage right now where money inflated, right? Homes became worth more money.
Yep.
The Fed can't control the housing market by lowering rates, because when they lowered rates, what happened? Mortgage rates shot up.
Yep.
So they don't really have the same effect as what they're hoping for. And then they think if they lower rates too fast, they'll reignite the inflation again. It'll get even nuttier.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's a conundrum there. So the affordability problem isn't going away.
Right.
And so the affordability problem isn't going away. And we know then that you can bank on this. What do they do in Europe? Just like you said, they've been doing co-living in Europe for
forever. It's very common.
It's
very common.
Very common.
I look at it, and the more I'm in real estate, the more I realize there's 3 main skills that you have to build, and they kind of build off each other. 1, find deals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just 1. If you're just starting out and you're listening to Jamil and you're like, oh my gosh, yes. All right, let's do this. Number 1, find deals. Number 2, raise funds. Number 3, property management. Those are the 3 biggest skills. I mean, everything else kind of falls in line there. We could go on and on and on and do a bunch of sub skills under all of that, but really finding deals, raising funds, and property management are the big 3.
And also, again, big shout to my bro. I should have listened to Pace 3 years ago when he was flaunting his dang refund checks in my face. But keep the money you make.
Yeah.
Keep the money you make. Stop being a dodo bird and giving it to the IRS, because they're not doing anything good with it.
PB&J.
What's up, Pace? What's up, Jerry?
What up, guys? Can you hear me okay? I have a new mic.
Oh, it's crispy, dude.
Yeah, it's super fresh.
Okay, cool. Love it. I've been out driving my properties all day today on the East Valley. I had kind of a all filming day, and ironically enough, it was all my filming I did was all about affordability. I was driving through these little neighborhoods that I've bought trailers. Like I've bought some trailers from Brent in the past, and from Jamil in the past, and from my own searching. And I look at these trailers, and they have been pound for pound the best deals I've ever done in my life. Now, I'm not doing Jerry type of deals, like $3 million, profit on my deals. But man alive, focusing on affordable housing has been so fun for me. And I've got a flip right now that I'm working on that I'm actually a little bit worried about because of that exact thing. It's not an affordable house. It's my exit price is like $850. And I look at the market right now, and houses at $850 are sitting for sometimes 9 months in Maricopa County. So For those of you guys out there looking for deals, Brent says one of the most important skills you'll ever learn is finding deals. Focus on your median house price in your area. For us, our median house price is $425,000 to $450,000. Jerry's is where he's at is about $20 million per deal. So focus on the median price that you guys are doing. By the way, I had a blast hanging out with Brent on Friday at his office with Jamil talking about PPC. Brent, somebody sent me a DM this week and asked me if there is any new videos coming out about TCPA laws. Do you or Jerry have some?
Yes,
videos?
I love it. They just, the 11th Circuit just shut all that down.
What do you mean? Tell me about that.
It's gone. They appealed it all. So apparently Americans actually like getting several quotes for services. So this whole thing was if you go into this is so I had the TCPA attorney on Eric Allen for an hour on Thursday, and he said, well, they might, come Monday, they might postpone it, or the 11th Circuit might, just blow it all up and make them start anew. And he texted me Friday night and said they just pushed it to 2026, all the new regulations. And then he said, oh, the 11th Circuit just blew it all up.
Wow.
So what they're trying to do is when you fill in on a website your information and it goes out and you get like all the insurance companies, all the mortgage companies, all the home services companies, all the other thing, the people they were saying that shouldn't happen. You should disclose who you're selling your leads to, all that. Well, the 11th Circuit was essentially like, no, actually, Americans like all of this. They like getting competitive bids, and we see it as a bigger problem if you had to do that, because just these bigger companies would just outspend everybody, and everybody would, have to work.
Yeah,
with them.
it turns into monopolies all over the place because
Right.
the big companies just gobble up all the little guys, and the little guys go away.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you, 11th Circuit. That's pretty dope.
So what does that mean for real estate investors? Like, we can cold call, we can text, we can basically bother everybody?
Well, we've always had that ability, right? We've always had that ability. Every attorney will tell you, make sure that you scrub against the DNC. The DNC is the do not call list, because the do not call is self-policed in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
You see professional litigators that will send out, lawsuits that will tell you, hey, you called me 3 times, you owe me this amount, I'll settle for this amount and send it to me now, and we won't have to go to court. Right. Sometimes when it's bigger companies, you saw this happen. The attorneys saw what was happening with Coldwell Banker, with Keller Williams, with some of these big names, and they got sued for 20, 40, $50 million. You can look it up. You guys can fact check me, put it in the chat, how much they got sued for.
It was Keller Williams got millions of dollars.
Millions.
in
But they settled in the whole thing, right?
Yep.
And then the NAR, all the lawsuits with NAR came out. So there are litigating attorneys, guys, that all they do is they wait for somebody to complain, and they check your business to see if you've got decent business, if you've got a bunch of Google reviews, if you've been established for a while, if you're online talking about how much money you make or something like that, and they will slap you with a class action lawsuit so that you settle. And what I've been told by not only Eric but other attorneys is some people in our business go, it's a cost of doing business. I'm going to put $100,000 into an account. If I need to settle anything, if I need to fight any lawsuits, if I need to do anything there, and it's going to be business as usual, I'm going to text everybody. I'm going to call everybody. I'm going to go absolutely bananas, and I'll make way more. I'll make millions, and it'll cost me tens to 100,000 maybe for a settlement here and there if I need to. And that's just the way that we're going to run our business.
That's a small group of mega wholesalers that are doing that. Like,
correct.
The average wholesaler is not making a budget to spend on legal fees and lawsuits. One thing that we're doing, we haven't launched it yet, we're going to be launching it in February, is with our data and PropWire, is we're also, not only are we going to scrub against the do not call list, but also that there's a TCPA litigator do not call list. And what they do is they go in and they track every single lawsuit and those lawsuits. And then you can make sure you're not on those lists either, to stay away from those people. Because, those are the type of people that are going to be, they're just ambulance chasers, right? Like, they're looking for a reason to come after.
There's professional litigators. Yeah. There's professional people that are going to they're going to file lawsuits for you to settle. But it's the attorneys that are filing these as a business plan, and they actually keep 90 to 98% of the settlement, and the plaintiff gets 2 to 10% of the settlement for some of these strategies.
Most of it never goes anywhere. It's a threat and a settlement is what they're looking for.
Yeah, correct. It's a shakedown. It's a shakedown.
It's extortion. And, at the end of the day, if you don't respond to the demand letter, it typically goes away. I've actually had a couple come to me over the years, and I just ignore them, and they go away.
Most of them go away. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, guys, unless
Jerry,
it's all talk until you get served, right? So.
Yep.
Jerry, we got a good question from Barry3426 today. He says, I've got questions for Jerry. I actually found out about Data Cruncher. Once I found an on-market properties on there, what are the next steps in order to go forward? Talk to the agent?
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be any type of lead provider. You get the lead. If that tool finds underpriced listed properties is what that tool is. It's a free tool. And what it does is it just scrapes a zip code, and it gives you a list of properties that are below the average sold price per square foot over the previous 6 months. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a deal, but it's stuff that's probably priced below market value, which means usually there's distress or something going on. But yeah, your next move would be, what I would say is call the listing agent directly, tell them you're unrepresented, tell them you're interested in making an offer, figure out your number and present an offer to that agent and see if they'll dual represent you and present that offer to the seller. That's the agent model you want to go after.
Yeah, living in North Carolina says TCPA is saying we need permission to text or call them now if we use a dialer such as Mojo. Do I understand this correctly? Doesn't seem right. I highly suggest you have a conversation with Eric Allen. He's out of Utah. You can Google him. He's very easy. TCPA attorney, and get the rundown there. There's always going to be a risk if you call people on the do not call list that they will start litigation. And so, but all the new TCPA stuff that was set to go is wiped out. 11th Circuit Court.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So let's say I run my wholesale business, right? Which I do. And I've got a wholesale LLC, which I do. My LLC does not hold any assets, and really at the end of the day, doesn't really hold a lot of cash either. That's not tied up in marketing.
Yep.
I get a TCPA lawsuit. What happens when I just let them win and get a default judgment against that LLC?
They'll name you in the suit. They'll name you personally.
What if they can't name me because my LLC is hidden? I have anonymity. I have protection through a trust.
I don't know. I mean, they'd have to do their homework, I guess.
I think what would happen in that situation because guys, I'll tell you straight up, I do not scrub the do not call list. I'm sorry. You guys can hate me. I'm probably the guy, my team is probably calling you, and you're probably saying, I'm on the do not call list. And we're like, oh, we thought you meant like do not miss calling you list. We're so sorry. Yes, we call the do not call list. And I imagine people have probably looked up my LLC, looked up my company, and found that it was owned by a trust that has full anonymity. And I imagine that they're like, yeah, this is going to cost too much money and it's not worth the hassle, and they give up. I imagine that. I don't know. I kind of want to talk to an attorney. What's the name of that attorney again?
Eric Allen.
Allen.
Really great guy. Has over 120 pairs of Jordans.
Ain't nobody gonna go through the brain damage of trying to find out who the owner of a trust is. It's going to cost hours and thousands and hours and thousands and subpoenas and all kinds of garbage. It's not for a shakedown. I don't think it's worth it. I think what Pace is doing is probably the smartest way to protect yourself. If you plan to go ham on the calling, you should probably set up an entity like that so that you're not at risk. That's how I would play it.
Well, a lot of people are hiring VAs and call centers and everything anyway on a massive level, which is an interesting. They can listen. They're gonna if you have money, and you come under their attention, they're gonna slap something at you. It doesn't mean that you won't win. It doesn't mean that you have to settle. I'm just telling you. It does open you up.
From an asset,
Brent, I need to know the answer to this question. What is your
Yeah.
gym split? Edwin needs to know. What's your time on a mile? If it's more than 10 minutes, get your ass to work.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would have to be running backwards to run a 10-minute mile, Edwin. Okay, I'd have to be hopping on one leg to run a 10-minute mile, Edwin. Okay. First of all, I'll throw 365 on bench and then go run a 6.5-minute mile. How about that, Edwin? Come get it, bro. Come get it.
365.
Liam, I have not tested 225 multiple times in a long time. But the most I ever did was 32.
32 at 225?
Yeah.
that's no joke, man.
Bro.
Oh my gosh, this guy's a monster.
I have really short arms though, so it's very easy. It's like just bam, bam, but they're full reps.
Jerry, I want to touch base on this one real quick because what I find is when somebody says PropWire isn't giving me reliable leads, and then 4 minutes ago I got a DM from somebody saying, please tell Jerry thanks for PropWire because I'm making a ton of money, typically means that there's some user error going on, right? And sadly, what people have a hard time doing is admitting when they are wrong. The ego in all of us doesn't want to admit, hey, man, I probably don't know what I'm doing. I need a little bit of help. Where's a good resource for me to go and learn? That should be the question that people have. And I think that's what Terrence is trying to get across. But he's saying, what's a good suggestion for a lead list? I need some more guidance on PropWire. Tell me what to do.
Yeah, well, first to your first point there, Pace. I mean, it's so funny. Like, I'll see a post in a Facebook group that'll say like, "Hey, what's the best skip tracing?" And you'll see multiple posts that say this one's amazing. Someone else will say that exact one is horrible, right? And so what happens is people use very small samples to make judgment on things, and oftentimes they'll try something that won't give the result they thought they were expecting, and all of a sudden that's like a bad list or whatever. And you got to do something 1,000 times before you can say it worked or it didn't work, right? I mean, people do it 5 times and then say it didn't work. But having said that, there's a data is only as good as the data that we're able to get. So certainly there's going to be certain markets where certain types of lists are just not a lot of that data, or the list that we update, we're getting the data and it's as updated as we can possibly get it from when we get it, So data never is perfect. Skip tracing is never perfect. None of this is perfect. But if you're doing it enough, you're going to see results and this is any provider, I think. I mean, do something enough and be consistent with it and learn it well. And, you're going to see some pretty good results. Just be consistent with something. And it doesn't have to be proper. Just be consistent. But having said that,
being a Canadian or being someone in a different country, that there is no such thing as skip tracing or anything that we have access to. Legitimately, Jamil, if I went to Canada right now and I was like, I want to have PropWire in Canada, is that really possible?
No, not only is it not possible, you can't even comp properties as a civilian in Canada. I can't go onto Zillow and find out sold data on anything. Everything is protected by the Association of Realtors out there, and they keep that information private to force people to use real estate agents for information. And it's terrible. And Redfin has filed suit against the Board of Realtors in Canada. Zillow has filed a lawsuit against the Board of Realtors in Canada, and they're actively trying to pursue a freedom of information release of this data so that the consumer can be protected and know what property values are. But for whatever reason, Canada, beautiful country. I love it so much. Politically and socially, it needs some work. It's got a lot of issues with respect to, how they're managing things. And I think, it over time that will change. But to your point, Pace, no, it is incredibly hard.
Are there flippers? Are there flippers?
Absolutely. There's wholesalers in Calgary.
Are they just real estate agents?
No, these are private. Like, we have private investors who only fix and flip. There's wholesalers, wholesaling companies.
How do they know how to comp?
They will either have an in-house real estate agent, who will provide comparables for them. That's usually the workaround, is just have somebody in your team licensed. and then you got access to the MLS and you can comp.
Yeah.
But it really reduces your competition, right? And
I still think you and I need to do some PPC up
we
in
do.
Canada.
Here's the other piece. It reduces the competition, but here's, what do we have all the time that happens here in the United States? When you call, Susie homeowner and you're like, hey, Susie, what's up? See, your house looks like shit. Well, how much you want for it? And she's like, well, Doug over across the street, I just saw sold his house for $1 million. So I'd like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And so why does Susie homeowner say that? Because she can tell how much Doug sold his house for. In Canada, they have no idea. They got no clue what's selling for what.
Really?
No clue.
They only see the actives.
They see some actives.
It's like Texas.
Some actives.
It's like non-disclosure states.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hey, speaking of PropWire, today we launched something really cool called Premium Leads. You guys, anybody that's in there, you guys see that?
I did see that, and I saw it on your Instagram.
Yeah, it's really fun. What we've done is we're going now into the county, and we're getting tax liens, we're getting bankruptcy, we're getting divorce, and we're getting we're getting not just tax liens, but all kinds of liens. There's like dozens of liens. So HOA liens, it could be mechanic liens, federal tax lien, whatever, any kind of liens. We're getting that data, and we don't have every county obviously, but we're working towards it. We've got a lot of the metro main counties, and so it's really cool because that's data that you can't get. No one else provides that. You have to either manually go get it yourself or pay an expensive agency to do it. So we're pretty excited about it. So guys, try that out and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Jerry, any news coming around on any of these other states pushing regulations? I feel like it's kind of slowed down.
A little quiet. Yeah, it's been a little quiet.
Slow down, yeah.
What happened last year was 4 or 5 states hit all in like end of first quarter. I think it was like April. It seemed like April, March and April and stuff last year is when, but it's been sort of quiet. So I don't know if they look at that stuff at a certain time and then, beginning of the year or something. There's a couple of open things out right now that I'm keeping an eye on, but it doesn't seem to be much happening right this minute. So keep your fingers crossed we don't get a bunch more this year.
I hope
we
get
interesting. It kind of comes in spurts. I think that the 21-22 season of wholesaling really pushed some people's buttons, I think.
So yeah.
Maybe, but again, I really see that the huge increase in people coming into wholesale was due to text message marketing.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Once the carrier started clamping and not Zapier, but the other one, in some with an I, Twilio. Yes, indeed. Yes. Twilio started, really clamping down. You couldn't send thousands. You remember some of the guys that we know just down the street here that were sending 1 million a day in text message marketing? They were crushing it.
Killing it.
They were crushing it. They had like big coaching programs, big offices.
Yep. It's great for a minute.
Jerry and I were talking about this today. Like, if you're going to build your business, make sure that you get some really great fundamental lead generation pillars in your business. Because if you build it all off of something that's new and exciting and blowing up, it's probably going to, get condensed at some point. But 2, do it, go crazy, make as much as you can, but also don't, get into huge overhead that if anything changes, it's going to eat you alive and you're going to give all your profits back.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
I think that goes.
Edwin Nunez says, I can't lie. I miss SMS marketing. I said it. I know you guys were thinking it. We all do miss SMS text messaging.
Oh, yeah.
I did an agent challenge last week where I called long days on market, low equity deals. I want to give you guys the rundown on my challenge if you guys don't mind.
Please.
For those of you guys that care about math, for those of you guys that are like, please tell me what to do. Okay, so let's say I have $200. That's all I have for the whole month. I have $200 and I want to go and get some deals. Here's what we did. We pulled a list of long days on market, So these are on-market properties. You can go to PropWire, you could go to DealSauce, you could go to whatever the other websites are, but you can go to these websites and pull a list. Long days on market, low equity, so things that have 10% equity or less, 4% interest or less. And what we do is we send an email out to all of the real estate agents that are representing these houses. Last week, we sent out 455 emails to the 900 agents that were on this list. So we had 900 opportunities here in Phoenix, Arizona, based on that filter. We emailed 455 of them. Why did we stop at 455? Well, because we were overwhelmed with opportunities. Out of the 455 agents that received an email from us, in the email has an LOI, and I came up with a really great analogy for what an LOI is. Tell me if you guys like this. Remember in school, when you'd pass a note in school, and it would be like asking a girl, hey, do you think I'm cute? Circle yes or circle no, right? That's an LOI. It's a letter of intent. I'm not asking you on a date. Okay. This is not a formal contract. This is not a date. I just want to know, I'm interested. Are you interested that I'm interested? That essentially is an LOI.
What is that, like a swipe right or swipe left now?
Basically, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Jamil, how do you like that? Is that good for LOI?
It's great. It just needs one of these.
Yeah, the flipping.
Yeah, one of the.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So we
You're
sent
telling
out
your age right now, Jamil. You're telling your age.
455 LOIs went out. How many? Let's do a little quiz. Out of these 455 emails that we sent to on-market real estate agents, how many real estate agents replied back saying, hey, we're interested in talking?
I think my guess would be everything feels like it goes down in 10% increment. It goes down to 10%. So my guess, if you send out 455 emails, you probably had.
What was the headline? What was the subject?
It was two offers. It was a cash offer and a creative offer. And the subject was full price offer.
That's a 90% open rate.
It's a big open rate for sure. So then it won't be as bad as I was thinking. I was going to go down to like 50 responses.
You're not too far. You're not too far off.
Yeah. Yeah. So like 45 to 50 replies, I would think. And then that 45 to 50 replies would probably lead to 4 to 5 contracts. And those 4 to 5 contracts would probably lead to 2 to 3 deals.
So here are the numbers. Okay. So 455 LOIs, that took about an hour and a half to send out, and they just get sent out automatically. And that's all, like the offer is sent out automatically. The cash offer is figured out automatically. The Subto offers figured out automatically. The software does it all, which is awesome. So 455, do you think I'm cute letters went out, and 100 out of 455 agents replied to that email within 48 hours. Okay. Wow. We're still, now here we are over a week later, we're starting to get emails replied to. People are on vacation, they were sick, whatever. But it was about 100, it was on the money, like 100 replies in 48 hours. Okay. Out of those 100, how many agents were willing to get on a phone call at a specified time? 100 replied. We said, great, we'd love to get on a phone call and explain the offer to you. How many of them let us set an actual appointment? This is an interesting stat.
30?
You're really close, 44. So we had 44 agents that were like, sure. We had like 10 agents who were like, I don't get on appointments. I'm like, bro, you have a listing 320 days on market. What do you mean you don't get on calls,
What a douche.
But overwhelming.
That's
so
terrible.
44 appointments were set. Okay, 44 appointments were set. How many actually showed up for the call? Another interesting statistic.
You were setting appointments for a call?
Yep, set for a call. So 44 set for a call, 34 showed up. So 10 did not even pick up the phone when they were supposed to. 34 calls. We actually had 34 conversations. Anybody in here, DM me on Instagram and just say, hey, I want those calls, and I'll give you guys all 34 of the calls that I took last week. Out of those 34 calls, Jamil is correct. We got 4 sub-2 contracts. Okay. And what I'm doing this Thursday, if you guys are in Phoenix and you guys want to buy a home for yourself, these are not investment properties. If they were investment properties, I would have just kept them. These are houses that are good for somebody who wants to live in them, make babies in them. Not 10, you won't be able to put 10 kids in any of these houses, but you will be able to do the nasty in these houses. Okay. So on Thursday at mine and Jamil's office, Thursday at 4:00, I'm going to be doing what I call a buyer's showcase. I've not done this since 2017. What I do is I take these houses that I got sub-2, 3%, 3.5%, 4%, and 4.5% interest rate houses. All 4 of them are less than 5 years old. They're very new homes. And I'm going to be showing them those 4 plus another 4 I have. So 8 houses total at my office. Just send me a message, whatever you guys want. If you just want the calls, you guys live out of town, send me a message on Instagram and say, hey, I want those 34 calls. I'll hook you up. You can see me make all 34 calls. If you want to come to my office, send me a DM and say Thursday, DM me the word Thursday, and my automation will send you the address and the time and like how to get into the office. And I'll show you guys how I do buyer showcases. Somebody was asking me today, they're like, why don't you just put the houses on a website and make it easy for people to buy them? Jamil, let me ask you a question, my friend, who sells more deals than anybody I know. Do you make more money by putting a house on a website and hoping people look at it, or by texting or communicating with people directly and selling them on the house?
Here's the reality of it, right? I think most people think that websites work like that, like somehow, some way the website fairy is going to enter somebody's mind and deliver them a website address that will hit the nail on the head of what they're looking for. No. That's not how life works. That's not how sales works. That's not how anything works. What you've got to do is active outreach. So what you're doing is you're doing active outreach to people. Here's the reality of it, right? There are people right now who are not actively looking for homes who have a desire to have their own home. And so if they're not actively looking for a home, they're not going to be out there looking for websites where they can find an easy sub-2 deal to get into with a low interest rate. They're not even looking. But if they get reached out to and said, hey, you know, you're a renter. What are you paying in rent? $2,700. Well, would you not be interested in owning your own home if you could pay $3,000? Wait, you're telling me for $300, I can knock down walls. I can paint my daughter's bedroom pink because she wants it to be pink. I can plant a garden. I can do all the things that you can do when you own your home. Yeah, for $300 more. Yeah, and what size is your home, sir? 1,200 square feet? Well, isn't this funny? This one is 2,000 square feet, and it has a garage for those hot days in the summer. When do I come and meet you? Thursday at 4:00 at 1050 West Washington, sir. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. It's like Rolex.
Yeah.
Rolex doesn't put their watches on a website that you can just order. You have to go in to whoever is distributing them, build a relationship with them, and then they call you maybe a year later and say, hey, I got this watch. Do you want to get it? And they won't sell you certain watches until you already buy the first watch, because they know that there's going to be too many looky-loos. There's going to be too many people wasting their time, and they want to work with people that are going to take it serious, and they see the value of what it is. So when you're reaching out to people over the phone and telling them about what's going on, you've probably already had a conversation. You probably have an idea of what they're looking for, and you already know that they're qualified to be able to take on something like this.
Correct.
You know what I mean? As opposed to just putting it on a website and going, hey, free for all.
Yeah, I mean, also, you know, and then we can move on from the point. Keegley has had a website for nearly a decade.
Yep.
Right? You want to know how many houses, wholesale houses I've sold off the website in a decade?
Yeah.
Maybe 10, maybe 20.
Yeah.
Right? How many houses have we sold through direct text? 700, 1,000 a year.
Right.
Right? Through direct text, through direct outreach. Right? So it's a complete moot point. A website's not going to sell a house. People don't go to www.iwannabuyahouse.com to buy a house. Just doesn't go like that.
It's too big of a purchase for people to make without another human being involved.
Correct.
And they need the assurance. They need the confirmation. I mean, say what you want about the National Association of Realtors and the lawsuit and all of that kind of stuff, but buyer's agents do so much therapy work to get buyers to commit to houses, right? Like, oh, it's a big purchase. I'm making a big commitment. And buyer's agents are babysitting them all the way through it. Same thing with a buyer showcase. So let's say that I've got my buyer showcase coming up this Thursday. If you guys are in Arizona, come hang out. We will not have hors d'oeuvres, and we will not be we might have Diet Dr. Pepper. This is the first time I've had one of these in like 10 years.
You're getting crazy, Pace.
Freaking
you are
lit.
Getting wild. Jerry,
you get 4
what is
contracts in a
happening
week.
over here? Jeez Louise.
Hey, wait, have you seen that one short where that guy sleeping with his mouth open and the woman comes and puts Dr. Pepper in his mouth, and while he's sleeping, he was like, "Is that Dr. Pepper?" Sorry, I can't. It's just so good. That's really Dr. Pepper. Sorry.
By the way, Myron Briley right here is one of the people that helped me get these 4 contracts. He's the person that sends out all those love letters to the agents. And so at this let me tell you why the buyer showcase is so smart. What happens is at the buyer showcase, I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm going to be rusty and all that kind of stuff, and we'll work through it. But basically what I've done is I've gone on Facebook Marketplace, I've gone on Craigslist, and I've gone to a handful of real estate agents that I know represent non-traditional buyers. And I've invited people to my office. I might get 3 people, I might get 300 people, who freaking knows? And what will happen is these buyers will show up. I'll explain who I am. I'll explain their problem. I'll explain the promise that that I'm making, that I can help them avoid a bank and get them into a house, all of those types of things. And then what I'll do is I'll say, there's 6 houses available tonight to purchase. You have a couple of options before I show you these houses. You can go fully funded, meaning I will fund your down payment. I will fund your moving expenses. It's going to be more expensive, this, that, and the other. That's option A. I will fund, your closing costs, your this, your that, blah, 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 blah. Option B is you put a little bit of money down and your payment's lower. Or option C, you put a lot of money down and you got a much lower payment. Cool. Once I show you these houses, we're going to present them for about 7 minutes. I'll tell you the story about how I found the house for any investors that are coming, that you guys just can't freaking help yourself to show up to my shit and mess with my flow. These real estate investors show up and they're like, oh, is this a good Airbnb? Is this a good Section 8? Is this bro? These are houses for homeowners. Leave me alone. I will tell you guys the story of the deals. And then what I'll do is I'll say, all right, we have 7 minutes until this house is no longer available. And Pace is going to put this house in his portfolio. And if nobody bids on this house, we will close this house and move on to the next house. What it does, what it does is it puts pressure on people to make a commitment on that house. And they do not get the opportunity to see all 6 houses, because a confused mind says no. This isn't Baskin Robbins. If this is close to where you want to buy, you commit. And so I do this buyer showcase. And what happens is then the next month I do a buyer showcase. I bring in the next 10 houses I have. I present them all in person. The only way people get an invite to the next month is if they bring another friend of theirs that is also looking to buy a house and stop renting. And so this starts compounding to a point where you start out with 10 people that are like tenant buyers. Then you end up with 20, then you end up with 40, and it kind of settles in around 50 people that start coming to these buyer showcases. So you can sell every Subto deal, every wrap deal, every lease option deal that anybody sends you. And it actually turns into a really good disposition strategy. So I'll be teaching the Subto community how to do this.
Hey, so these will be wraps though, right? You're going to wrap these.
Not all of them. I mean, some of them I'm just going to assign. I'm just going to connect the agent. I'm going to connect the seller and the buyer together and just take a fee, because there's just not enough room for me on some of these deals. There are some deals where I'll close and then I'll wrap. There are some deals where I'll close and I'll sell in a lease option. The difference between those is like how big of an entry fee it is, and how, if it's a smaller entry fee, I typically will do a lease option. If it's a big entry fee, I will do a wrap and look for somebody with a big chunk of money. So I prefer investors not come and hang out, but you guys just can't help yourself. You're going to come hang out. I want real buyers to be there. So I have been running some ads on Facebook Marketplace, et cetera. So this will teach my community, the Subto community, how to sell Subto and seller finance deals to buyers. and kind of cut out the agent. The last deal I sold was a couple of weeks ago, and I went through an agent, and the agent made $9,000. And I was like, bro, I love agents, but like, I don't need to pay an agent $9,000 for bringing me a buyer that's not qualified. So Thursday, send me a message on Thursday, or send me a message on Instagram. I'll give you mine and Jamil's address. We're going to be partying over there and selling some deals. Okay.
Nice.
On.
Jerry, where? Oh, hold on. Let me.
So where'd that go?
Let me get to this one for Jerry here. Jerry, I got a seller looking to sell for $62,000. I'm trying to sell it for $72,000. The house on Redfin has an estimate for 95 to 108. Another house is 130 to 150, and I offered 95. He has to ask his wife. Hope it works. What's your gut telling you here, Jerry?
Okay, so I'm trying to sell for 70. The house on Redfin has so the Redfin estimate is 95.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to get it at 62. So 62 divided by 95, you're trying to get it at 65% of Redfin's estimated value. To me, that's a little high. I think you want to be lower than that. If you're going to hold
how low, Jerry?
I mean, I want to be at 40 to 50.
I want to be at 9 to 10,000. If that house needs work.
Yeah.
What if it needs 50K worth of work, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta take that into consideration. But generally speaking, if you're going in at 40% of the as-is value, you're probably going to be. I mean, that's worth making an offer. That's worth looking at. That's a good starting place. You know, but what you're saying, Brent, is you want to be at if it's 95, you want to be at 10% of the as-is.
If it's under 100,000 and it needs work and it's an old house, I want to be at 10% of the ARV for sure. Because you sell it for 20, 25, and then somebody puts 50 into it, and then there's some room there. But even 50,000 in these older houses, man, it gets eaten alive.
I think your math works. I think you'll have a hard time in some of those markets getting a volume of opportunities.
Yes.
At that price.
Yeah.
I've seen them wholesale though, typically around 30%. That's where I've seen like action happen in the under 100K market.
Right.
So somebody goes in, if it's like $20,000 house, they offer about 30% of that, and then they can make $5,000.
Yep.
That's the math I've seen work.
Right.
Because those buyers aren't looking for a flip profit. They're typically Section 8 buyers who want to be in a house for $100,000 that'll rent for $1,500.
Yeah.
And now they've got a really great strategy where they're getting $1,500 on a $100,000 rent. They refi out of that and they keep a little bit of money in, but they're kind of doing what I'm doing on some of the co-living stuff, but Section 8, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point, Brent, and Jamil, when you're under 100,000, typically those markets are going to be low income. You're going to be buy and hold. There's not flippers that aren't really trying to flip at that price point. There's no money in flipping there. And if it's older homes, if it's pre-1960 or if it's anywhere near 1900, those things are $100,000 to bring back to life, some of them, right? So like you got to get them for next to nothing.
Well, and I look at these properties, Jerry, and it's like, oh, they sold for $5,000 in 2019. I'm like, oh, did they totally remodel it? No. Okay, so they sold for $5,000 in 2019.
Those markets, they never go. I mean, you could look back.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like my very first house I bought that we lived in was in a market where I bought it for $90,000. The other day, just for fun, I looked it up, and the value the Zillow number is like 100,000. In like 25 years, it hasn't appreciated at all. And so that's Detroit and some of these markets. They never will. And if they do go up, they'll crash back down to where they were just as fast as they went up. Right. So you just got to know what you're getting into in the low income type of deals.
There's also this one real quick that, Jerry, Jamil, Brent, and Pace, would you all recommend avoiding sources such as Fiverr when it comes to looking for lead generation lists of properties for wholesaling?
Yeah, of course. Why would you go to Fiverr when you can go to PropWire and it's free?
Well, they're just going to PropWire and doing the filters that Jerry puts on his YouTube channel and selling it to you for 10 cents an address or something.
Oh my gosh, that's genius, bro. I've been doing
it for years. I've been doing it. It's my side job. It makes me giggle. Pays for my dog's food.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fun.
Oh,
That's
man.
DeFi Scotty, what's the market look like nowadays for wholesaled Subto deals? How would one gauge an assignment fee? I have a deal score. Actually, I will say, guys, DM me. I'll give you a deal score, like how to score a deal out based on down payment, interest rate, balloon, all of that kind of stuff, value of the property. I'll give you a deal score. It's like a little calculator. It's like a scorecard. And I would say it's less. Jamil, here's a good question. On cash, is there a good rule of thumb to follow on a cash deal, or are you guys kind of throwing numbers out and then negotiating as your buyers come to the table?
For assignment fees?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because we do a large majority of JV deals, we're usually tacking 10 onto those, 5 to 10. Okay. On an agent direct deal that's not listed, so an off-market agent pocket listing deal, depending on how deep we got it, we can shoot for anywhere from 30 to 10, right? So that'll be the typical average somewhere. On a good deal, we'll get about 30. On an average deal, we'll get about 10. And when we get the odd direct to seller deal and we get it nice and chunky deep, then you can make 40, 50 on that, down to like 20, right? The lowest I've seen we kind of get on a direct to seller deal is about 20, but they're fewer and far between in my office. So that's typical. When you add them all up and divide them by the number of deals, our average deal size on a monthly basis hovers just over $12,000.
Okay, cool. So same thing with Subto deals. The average Subto assignment that I see is between $12,000 and $15,000. Of course, there's some juicy ones. Like I've paid 60 grand on some deals that are 0% interest. I paid a TTP student a couple of years ago, a $37,000 deal on a 0% interest deal. Like when you get good terms, you will get juicy deals, but just an average deal. Like even when a deal is non-cash flowing and nobody can make any money on it, I will sell it to an end buyer and I will have them pay me a $15,000 fee. And if they can't pay the $15,000 fee, I'll have them pay me a $20,000 fee. And here's how I do that. What I'll do is I'll say, hey, if you can't pay my 15 grand, no problem. I'll reduce my upfront to like $10,000. And then I'll add $10,000 to a 5-year note. So you pay me in 5 years when you sell or refinance. There's a lot of different ways to get paid assignment fees and make a lot of money on creative finance deals because I can creatively force that buyer to pay me 5 years, 7 years. I've got, I don't know, a couple $100,000 in assignment fees that are just banked up against properties that are waiting to refinance or sell. So here's the answer. Get as much as you possibly can, but the average is about $15,000 bucks. That's the answer. Here we go. Cleophas Clancy says, hey guys, I have 78 acres in Appleton, Tennessee. How would you suggest to move this deal multi-6-figure spread?
What does homestead mean?
Homestead means they live on the property. Somebody lives in the
owner occupied.
Yeah, owner occupied. It's like a farm. You can raise your cattle there. You can kill your iguanas. And
is it a creative deal or is it cash?
It looks like a cash deal.
Where is Appleton, Tennessee?
I think it's like right by this place called I don't know. Where is it that you live?
Knoxville.
Knoxville. It's right by Knoxville. It's where all the turkeys and chickens are. I don't know. How are you guys liking that house, by the way?
We haven't. We're still in. Oh, it's by Chattanooga. It's right on the border of Georgia. So Chattanooga.
How would you suggest moving that, Jerry?
Chattanooga.
Hey, by the way, I just put out a video how to buy the perfect homestead because I did a lot of research on home. So homestead is acreage land. You can do barns, you can do animals, and there's a whole movement towards homesteading, obviously. And there's a luxury homestead market that I tapped into or figured out, and then there's everywhere in between. But this is a big movement. You're seeing this quite a bit down south, so Tennessee, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Texas. Really anywhere, but it's really hard to do it in Arizona and in Utah and out west because you just can't get acreage. But depending on what's on that property, if you've got amenities, so you've got a house, you've got barns, you've got a guest house, if you've got fencing, if you've got a pond or water source, all of that stuff is going to create a lot of value. And you can actually flip these properties. Like if you take my Tennessee property, it's 30 acres. With what we've got on it, if I spend about another $1 million on this homestead, I'll take it from 4,000 is what I bought it for, spend another $1.5 million. If I turnkey this for a luxury buyer, it's a $8 to $10 million property for this turnkey luxury homestead buyer. So there's big spreads you can do on these properties, but they've got to be 45 minutes from a major metro. This one might be, because you can find beautiful homesteads, but it's 3 hours from a town, and that's going to greatly diminish the value.
Why do you keep calling it homestead?
Why do people want homestead?
No, why do you keep calling it homestead? Isn't it property?
It's a hobby farm. It's you grow your own cattle. You
That's what a homestead is?
Yeah.
Got it.
You know, Tucker Max?
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Got it. So it's like a farm.
Yeah, it's your own farm.
No. So Jerry's right. Jerry's 100% right. There's two definitions for homestead. Florida has a completely different definition for homestead. There are legal rights. Even if I live in an apartment, I can homestead. I can say this is my homestead. Yeah. And then that way the IRS can't come after you. And there's a bunch of things. We don't use the word homestead on the West Coast. They use it a lot on the East Coast for certain types of, like, if I'm living in the property and this is my homestead, I live there, you can claim homestead law and people can't come and take your property from you. It's not like that in Phoenix and other places. So we don't hear it. But what Jerry is right. National homestead is basically a small hobby farm that you can live on the land and you can live there essentially. I wouldn't say off grid, but it's basically like you got to be Amish basically.
Yeah, an area of public land in the West granted to a U.S. citizen willing to settle on and farm the land for at least 5 years is what a homestead is.
Yeah, type in homestead exemption.
Self-sufficiency. It's self-sufficiency. Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then there's the other one that people get confused is homestead exemption. Type that in and completely different thing.
Different thing, yeah. It's the whole.
You like Tennessee, Jerry?
What's that?
You like Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, no state income tax because I need some help coming from Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Like,
you doing any fishing there?
Yeah, we've got a 5-acre lake that's stocked on the property.
Jamil caught a 400-pound catfish.
Oh my God. No, I was just telling Brent under my breath when you guys were talking about Chattanooga, Tennessee. I got catfished.
Oh my gosh, that's the girl in the Honda Civic?
Yeah, dude. I got catfished when I was in college by a 400-pounder in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it was terrible, dude. She flew out to see me. And I waited at the airport, and all the people came off the plane. And, the girl whose picture I got never came off the plane. And then as I'm like walking away disappointed, I hear somebody call my name, and it's the voice. And I turn around, and it's a 400-pounder. And it not her. And she's like, can we just go somewhere and talk? I need to explain. I'm like, yeah, you do. And so, here's the funniest part. I made this whole story up because I didn't want to tell my friends that I met a girl on the internet and she was coming over to hang out with me for a week. And so I made this whole thing up that, I've known this girl for a long time. I even lied to my parents. I said, I've known this girl a long time. She lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, blah, blah, blah. Anyways. So she gets there and I can't even fit her into my Civic. She's so big that her belly's on the dashboard. And while I'm driving down the freeway, right, as I'm driving down the freeway, my boys, all my friends, pull up right beside me because God did this, bro, and just to embarrass the heck out of me, and teach me never to lie and find girls on the internet. They passed by me. And I'd all told them this beautiful girl's coming to see me. It's going to be incredible. I've known her a long time. They slow down beside me. They all looked and they're like, oh, and it was terrible. I felt so bad for the girl though. Like it broke her heart.
Hold on. You tell them the story about how your mom made you bring her in the house.
Yes. Because so I left her in the car, right? And I go into my home and I now have to fess up to my mom and dad what I did. I'm like, I lied to you guys. I met a girl on the internet. She's not who she says she is. And she's in the car. And my mom's like, well, what do you mean she's not who she says she is? I'm like, well, you know, the cute little girl's picture I showed you, that's not her. She's big, Mom. She's like, how big? I'm like probably like 400, 500 pounds. My mom looked in the car, looked out the window and looked in the car. She's like, oh my God. She's like, why did you leave her in the car like that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to bring her. She's like, you get out there and be a decent human being and you invite that girl into the house here and let's have a conversation. And so, you know, I learned my lesson and I learned how to be a decent person. But it was pretty bad, dude. It was like hilarious.
That reminds me. Do you remember at community camp where the girl put the note in your pocket?
Yes.
What? I don't know anything about this.
You know this? Wasn't she like 92, Jamil?
No, I didn't see who it was. I got a note slipped into my back pocket. I thought it was just Bobby touching my butt.
Right.
But it was
what kind of paper?
It was regular paper.
Like lined or unlined?
I can't remember.
Like a notebook paper?
Yeah, like little
cursive or just regular?
Handwriting.
Yeah.
And
like cursive writing or like
it said because I had done something. I was smiling or something, and she wrote, I want to make you smile like that for the rest of your life.
Oh.
And then she left her name and phone number. And I gave the number to Bobby.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, he needed it more. He needed it more than you did, Jamil. So that was a good
Pardon me?
He needed it more than you did.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
All right, back to this homestead. It's a huge pond, a guest house, and a barn property under contract now for $3 million, and similar older homesteads sold for $3.6 million. How do you move a $3 million homestead?
That's I mean, so DM me because I got my head really around the luxury homestead market and pretty much because I looked for 6 months, hours and hours till I found mine. So I'll take a look at it with you, Cleophas, and see what's there.
Oh my God, dude, it's too bad. This is terrible.
Did you ever find her? Like maybe she.
Okay. So there's a button to the story. I was kind to her, right? I was kind to her. I didn't let her stay in my house because that was weird. So my mom, I was like in college at the time. I didn't have any money. My mom sprung to put her in a hotel.
Sure.
And my mom said, you better go visit this girl every day and like take her food and be kind to her and be nice to her. That's someone's daughter. And I did, I went and I like visited her and said hello, all the things. Like fed and watered her and then left, right? And so when yeah, so here's the best part. When Facebook first comes out, I get a friend request, and it's her name,
right?
But she was thin and cute. And so I accepted the friend request, and she sent me a message, and she said, hey, I thought, I know what I did was super weird and I was a kid, I'm sorry about that, but you were really nice to me. And so I thought it would be okay if I friend requested you because you're a kind person. I wanted to just, stay in touch.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, absolutely. It's nice to reconnect. I hope you're doing great. Like, you look great. Like, to kind of like, let's address the elephant or the former elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And she said, I got gastric bypass surgery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I lost a bunch of weight and I'm happy and I'm a nurse. I'm married and I have a kid. And I'm
There
like,
you
oh
go.
yeah, good for you.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she still your Facebook friend?
Yeah. She's still my Facebook friend.
Let's pull her up.
Oh, you don't want to. That's mean. I'll show you her before we leave today.
So there you go, Jerry. Yeah. It's awesome. Well, she was prospecting, she was doing some lead generation. It worked out.
It was the days of AOL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I met her on AOL. Yeah.
The instant messenger.
Yeah.
Came on.
Bro,
a CD.
she would be a great wholesaler. Like legit showing up to the appointment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't believe she got on the plane, bro. She got off the plane. That was weird.
Well, she had a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you wholesaling at this point or not yet?
No, I was trying to be a doctor. Here's the best part. Okay. Not the best part, but another funny little piece. So I didn't have time to date any girls because I was studying for the medical school entrance exam.
There you go.
So that's why I was talking to girls on the internet.
There you go.
And so I had just studied for like 6 months to write the MCATs. And she was coming the day after I wrote the exam. So it was supposed to be the cherry on top of my life. After acing my medical school entrance exam, I was going to get this cute little girl in my mom's basement and have a nice time. And that's not what happened. I ate a lot of Dairy Queen that weekend.
Nice.
Yes.
Wow. So Brent, your event on Friday, what was that all about? Tell us all about that.
Yeah, so part of our pay-per-click agency is we want to have a mastermind involved with it. So every 90 days we get together and just make sure that we have the best practices for closing those deals. Because you can have as many inbound leads as you want, but if you can't convert them, it gets really expensive and really frustrating really quickly. So we saw that there was a need in the market to really put together the right processes for people to be able to convert these leads. One, because they would stay with our agency longer, and two, I like being around people that do a lot of deals. I like being around people that do big deals, and so that's typically what happens with pay-per-click leads is you get bigger deals, and you can do a bunch of them because you just pour more into the top of the funnel, and usually it's between 1 and 10 to 15 leads per deal. To close them. So it puts a lot less stress on yourself and or your team, which is why we converted from all outbound to all inbound, because my team was getting burnt out closing 1 out of 50, 60, 70 leads on cold calls and texts. And now we're down to like 1 in 15 to 18.
Are you
depending on
visiting
the lead
every
source.
one of them?
We do go on a lot of the appointments because they're ready to go. But if they're in really good shape, which you get more in inbound leads than you do outbound leads, because you can really target older properties. Because there's a lot more that are just coming inbound. It's people that want retail. And so we refer that to our real estate agent team. They go out there and then we get 50%.
And how many of those are converting?
Oh, tremendous amount. I mean, we're probably listing 10 to 15 homes a month.
Holy moly, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I gotta brag about Brent here for a second. Brent has 75 PPC customers right now, and I'm one of them. And what I love about Brent, the way he runs his PPC agency, is he opens the hood and shows you what's going on. And that's really cool because most of these PPC agencies, at least all the ones I've worked with in the past, you give them your money and you hope it works, and you don't really know what's going on or how they're deciding the budgets or any of that. It's really hard to get visibility on it. So Brent, I just really appreciate that. You guys, if you're considering PPC, you really should look at Brent's company because they're doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Are you not letting anybody buy leads in Arizona?
No, that's our. I mean, we just spend we're just doing it in Arizona, but everywhere else, talktopeople.com, check it out, talktopeople.com. But if you're in a smaller market, I highly suggest, if you're in a smaller market, you're going to spend between $5,000 and $10,000 a month minimum. And I would set aside 6 months before you even start it. I would set aside $60,000. If you're in a major market, I would probably set aside $75,000 to $90,000 before you even get started. And that'll help you get all your processes in place and also give you a nice budget to be able to get enough leads in. But they're about $317 a lead, and our pay-per lead PPL was $350 a lead. So it's actually come down. The longer you have an account, the less you spend per lead. And our ROI in 2023 was 3.2, in 24 is 3.8. And listen, if I put $1 in and can get $4 out or $3.80 out all day long.
Yeah, it's the PPC is the big leagues. Like so guys, I hope you caught what Brent said. You want a 6-month runway. If PPC isn't something that you try it this month and see if it works, you got to make sure you've got a budget. You got to do it 6 months because you have to build the account with Google. You got to season it with them. And the longer you season it, the better it'll go for you. Right. And so give it that runway, make sure you've got the budget for it, or don't start it yet if you're not ready.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Jerry. That was awesome.
Benny Hernandez says, do you guys ever do meetups in North Carolina? Yes, I actually am speaking. I wonder if I could get Jamil to come out for the day. I'm going to be speaking North Carolina, Charlotte, Aspire event with David Goggins and a whole bunch of people.
When are you doing it?
Let me pull it up. This is going to be on whereispace.com. I'm going to have to pull up my own whereispace.com to find out. But it's coming up the first week of February. Jamil, I've learned to fly out and fly right back. It's February 5th. So we'll fly out to Charlotte in the morning, speak at Aspire, hang out at the event. They usually have about 3,000 people there. Then we're going to do a Charlotte meetup on February 5th. You down to come?
Yeah, I've got to move I was supposed to be in Calgary that week, but I'm going to move it all because I'm closing on a house out there. So
what?
Yeah. I got to, something little thing for charisma. It doesn't make sense to rent anymore. With my LA payment gone, I can make it make sense. It just makes sense to do. So, it's cool because it's right by the river I walk on every day. It's in beautiful park setting. It's nice. I'm getting it at a great price. 5.5% interest rate. I can't really beat it. So I'm doing that, but I gotta, my closing dates are all moving, long story short. So yes, Pace, I will come with you to North Carolina.
That'd be great, man. That'd be so cool. So quick day back there and day back. So we'll leave early in the morning, come back.
Fly in the morning and fly back at night.
Yes,
my
sir.
favorite kind of flight's perfect. Yeah, but I'll come because I love North Carolina. I love hanging out with you, so that I'll sacrifice my comforts for the fun.
First class.
I'm not going on a 6 a.m. flight in coach.
You never fly.
Actually, I don't.
The reason I will not fly coach. Last time I flew to Disneyland because it was a short one. It was just Aaron, Bo, and myself. Somebody 2 or 3 or right in front of me had the worst fart ever.
That's all I ever get.
It was just it was like it was Bo was like and I was like, this is why
you don't fly
this is
coach.
Why
because I don't listen. It's not that the people in first class don't fart,
right? It's just spaced out.
It's just that when rich people fart, it smells like strawberries. And when I'm just joking.
I don't know, but they must have, whoever was on this must have had farts for breakfast because it was so bad and it got so hot. It was just horrible.
Jamil, what happened to your LA house? Did it burn?
It did not burn. No, but my ex and I were talking while all that was going down, and I'm only there a week every month or 2 months, and then it sits empty. And there are 30,000 people without a home out there right now. And I thought it is just totally wrong of me to leave that place empty while there's people homeless. So I went down there last weekend. I packed up all my stuff. And I packed it into my Lincoln, and I drove home. And an elderly couple moved in yesterday in their late 70s, early 80s. They were in tears when I talked to them on the phone. I sent them a little dessert, a little cake to welcome in, a bottle of wine, and just said, "You're at the ocean now. Just I'm sure you were really, really traumatized with what you just experienced. Just heal up." And then I was really lucky because I got an older gentleman, like a 70-year-old man, who made a post on Facebook and said, my son is on life support. I lost my home. I have nothing. I'm living in the back of a church right now, and I have a garbage bag for personal items, and I'm trying to get to Phoenix, Arizona to stay with my daughter. And he wanted to raise money on GoFundMe for a flight. And so I just messaged him, and I'm like, why don't you save the money everybody's donating to you, and I'll drive you home. And I did. I got to drive Clarence is his name. I drove him home from LA to Mesa, and it was a great day, and I made a new friend. And so all of that was dope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How do I get a seller to agree to seller financing? They all just keep saying, I want the money now. By being a better negotiator. And I just did 34 calls last week. They were all between 10 and 20 minutes each. Overcoming that exact objection. I have never in my life, okay, I'm lying. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since somebody gave me that objection and I did not overcome it. If you want those 34 calls so you can go watch, it's one thing to talk theory, But the cool thing about the 4 guys on this screen is that we actually do the business. I have 34 calls that I did last week where I overcame that objection probably 6 or 7 times during those 34 calls. Just send me a message on Instagram and go, Pace, can I get those 34 calls that you made last week? And you can sit there in the morning and stare at me while you're on the toilet making calls to agents.
That's great. Or in the shower.
Or in the shower.
Like Laura watches Jerry.
Jerry, what's a video that you got coming up, brother?
Well, let's see. What's today? Monday? Wednesday, I'm releasing a video all about premium leads and bankruptcy and courthouse leads and why those are special. So that'll be fun.
Why are courthouse leads special? Give us a couple minutes on that.
Well, it's like anything that's hard to get or expensive to get is good, right? Because it's going to limit competition. So I love any type of lead source that's challenging to get. If it's exclusive, if it's hard to get, if it's expensive to get. Like if I call a county and I got to buy the property tax liens, I'm excited. I'll pay whatever fee they want because I know that that's a barrier to entry for people. So that list is going to be good. So when you get leads that are not on the national data circuit, right, then those are going to be good leads because they're just not getting as much attention. And so that's why the courthouse leads are so good, because you have to manually go get those or pay someone to go get those, making them more exclusive. So that's the idea behind that.
Yeah, I love that. I agree with that. The good and the bad part about wholesale is that most people trying to get into wholesale are cheap mother truckers that don't want to spend a single dollar. But the best part about wholesale is there's a lot of cheap mother truckers that don't want to spend a single dollar. And so for people like us that spend I remember I pulled my first county list. It was like $16. And I pulled also the water shutoff list.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And I went down to the county. I was like, do people how many people come down here and talk to you? They're like, well, the second we tell them that the list is $25, they hang up on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The water shutoff list, they're like, well, it comes on a CD. Like at the time, it was like a CD-ROM that you had to put in your computer. And they charge $25 to burn the CD and give it to you. And they said, well, nobody's come down here and actually picked one of these things up in 5 years because we keep telling them it's $25 to get the water shutoff list, which is just crazy. I freaking love that. Now, Brent and Jamil, what do you guys have going on this week yourselves?
This week, I will be hanging out with you on Thursday. I'm going to come to your buyer showcase and have a good time with you if you don't mind. I think that'll be fun. And then Friday, I'm releasing a YouTube video where I make a case for why I believe affordable housing is the play for the next decade. Mm-hmm. And I go through 10 market conditions that I'm looking at right now, economic and market conditions that don't allow for the affordability problem to change. And so I'm making a really big case for it, just so that people who are looking for stability in their real estate careers, like Pace just said, his mobile homes, his trailers have been the best investments he's made. And if you're one of those people that are sitting there I'm going to wait because I think the market's going to crash, right? There's tons of that fear-mongering kind of video out there, or other content out there, or even people just wishful thinking. They feel like I missed my chance to buy a home. I missed my chance to get involved. Everything's expensive now. I'm going to hope and pray for a market crash so that I can do what people did in 2010, 11, 12. Yep. And I make a case for why that is not going to happen.
Right.
I don't have a crystal ball, but mathematics, trends, and history can give you a very clear idea of what will happen based off of what has happened. And so that's what I kind of break down. And, if you're interested in hearing that case, it'll be out on my YouTube channel on Friday.
Awesome. I've got a training on Saturday with Rich Dad. I am Rich Dad real estate coach. And kind of surreal, really. I mean, it's full circle from when I read the book as a high school graduation gift. But we're doing a cool training on at 3:00 Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. That is 1 o'clock Mountain, and that is noon Pacific. I would love for you to hang out with me on that. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We'll go for like 60 minutes to 90 minutes, and it's going to be really, really, really awesome. So check that out. richdadandbrent.com. richdadandbrent.com.
Is that on your regular YouTube channel, or is that on the Rich Dad channel?
This is an actual like webinar training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. This isn't
you need to go there and register, richdadandbrent.com.
Yeah. Yep. Register for that, guys.
Cool. Jerry, as we're talking about what you have coming up, do you and are we really going to run another beast or not?
You and I were texting about it today and looking at dates. I want to do it in the fall though, because I want to train right, and I don't want it to be hot like in the summer.
Okay, sounds like you're committing. So yes, Mark says, Jerry, now that you're back stateside, will you run another marathon? Yes, we are going to do what do they call them? The Beast, the Spartan Beast. Spartan race. Oh, yeah. We're going to do the Spartan race, and we're going to get just like last year, a couple of years ago. It's actually coming on 2 years that Jerry and I did a 15-mile beast in Utah and climbed a 10,000 foot climb. It was insanity. With our kids, our older kids. Yeah, bro, like you're clawing up the mountain, and you get to the top. They're like, okay, you've successfully finished half of 1 mile of the 15 miles.
Paige, do you remember when they ran out of food, like snacks?
Yeah, bananas and all the things. Dude, it's horrible. That's what happens when you finish last, dude. You don't get any food. Dustin Seiler, bro, we'd love to have you, dude. I love you. I think we're thinking either California or we're thinking what were the other ones?
I like that Vermont one, but there's a couple. Like there's I forget the list.
I think Vermont would be really cool, guys. Stay tuned for that. We are going to do a Spartan race. We'll invite people from the community. We'd love to do a big one.
Would I survive one, or am I just talking trash?
Here's what happens. Okay. So like,
you got a lot of wear and tear, a lot of injuries on a Spartan.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah. You go to the one that's the 3 mile. We did the 15 mile. You come with us, you hang out in Vermont. We have some maple syrup. We do the thing. Wow. And you come out and do the 3 mile. And there's other people that will do the 3 mile, and we'll see. Asher will come out. But maybe we can get Charisma to come out and spend some time with all the kids too, if you're down for it.
Heck yeah.
Jamil,
I'll do the 3 miler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the sprint. So Jamil, you got to go over obstacles. So what you do is you run, then there's an obstacle.
Okay, so like what kind of obstacle? Like an angry agent, or?
Yes.
No, way worse than that.
Oh, okay.
Way easier than that.
Awesome.
Jerry, what do you have going on? Do you have anything you want to promote, talk about, tell people you're working on?
I don't think so. No, just the regular stuff I'm always working on. Nothing.
Premium leads.
Yeah.
Premium leads coming out right now. Go check out Jerry's Instagram, Jerry's YouTube.
So I'll be talking about that a bit, but that's a big project we've been working on.
I love it. And for those of you guys that are interested, Phoenix, Arizona, mine and Jamil's office, 4 p.m. Thursday. I'm going to be doing a buyer showcase. I've not done this since 2017. And I'm going to kind of build it out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it out for the Subto community, that they can do this exact same thing nationwide and kind of turn it into like a franchise. It's not going to be a franchise model where I charge for it, but make it feel like a franchise model and get all the renters out that are looking to buy a house, all the people that have been turned down by loan officers and real estate agents that are saying, hey, my client can't afford a house. They have a good down payment, they have good credit, but the interest rates are so high, they can't afford the house that they want. I saw in the Subto community, there are hundreds of Subto deals being posted in there every single day. And I think it's about time to start going out and finding all the renters that believe they can't buy a house and start pairing people with these amazing deals all over the country, even though they don't cash flow. We'll find the buyers and put that together. So Thursday, come out to my buyer showcase. If you guys need the address, you want to come hang out, DM me on Instagram and say, Pace, give me the address. And guys, we will see you next week. for Wholesale Hotline.
See ya. Or not.
Hold on.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.